Charles Michelle Loves Books. Welcome back to my channel. It is time for 7 on Sundays prompt. If you'd like to join, I will leave the link to the Goodreads group that hosts this in the description box below. Today's prompt is, I'm assuming it's in light or in lieu of Mother's Day. However, I don't even know what day Mother's Day is. Go figure. Basically, today's prompt is favorite fictional motherly figures. My first favorite mom, who is actually at the top of my list, is Miss Weasley from Harry Potter, of course. Mrs. Weasley is so motherly, and I have no idea how she manages it. All of her kids, just my two, wear me out. So I seriously could not imagine that many kids. I'm sure if I had wizard's magic, though, to help cook and clean for me too, it would make things a lot easier. The second fictional mother that I really like is Jocelyn from The Mortal Instruments. While in the first 3 books, she really wasn't present, so we never really got to meet her until, what was it, like the 4th book? Yeah, so we never really got a good taste of what kind of mother she is until like the 4th book. So far where I'm at, I just finished the 5th book. She sets boundaries for Clary. She checks in on what she's doing and making sure that she's not just making out with her boyfriend all day while she's supposed to be training to be a shadow hunter at the Institute. She feels that her boyfriend Jace is toxic, and so she does her best to try to protect her from him and give her advice that she learned when she was dating Clary's dad. And mostly she's just a mom, a real mom, which you don't see a lot of in YA fantasy. The parents tend to be conveniently oblivious or away, giving our teenage main characters freedom to do all kinds of grown-up things that they should not be allowed to do, and those kinds of things just would not happen in normal homes. Or the kids would really have to get creative on trying to find ways to lie and sneak around, as I did when I was a teenager. The third one is, I also really like Bella Swan's parents from the Twilight Saga. For this very similar reason. They are present and active, and they care about Bella's life, who she's dating, what she's doing. They also offer another conflict in Bella's choices of how she would deal with keeping a secret if she were to become immortal and have to leave them so she wouldn't eat them, and breaking it to her parents, how they would react. Just all of the choices that she wants for her future and how she would break it to her parents and how they would react. The fourth one is, I like Bryce's parents from Crescent City. While they aren't exactly present, Bryce is also an adult. But you can tell that Bryce has a very close relationship with her mom and her stepdad. She has memories and history with her family, and they call to check in on her. She omits things from her life so that they don't worry, but her relationship with her parents is very real and very relatable. And they seem really cool. The 5th one, again, from the Shadowhunter series, as far as step-parents go, I'd have to say Marseille. Marseille? I think that's how you say her name. I'm always tripping up on that name. But Marseille Lightwood, as she has become fiercely protective over Jace. And she's willing to break Clave's law for him, as she probably would for her own children. And I just love it. When she first stood up to protect him, I about lost it. Because up until that point, we were led to believe that Marseille was very cold and really not present parent. And also Jace really didn't feel like he had a parent figure to care about him, which made him feel quite lonely. So when Marseille stepped up to protect him and showed how much she truly cared for him, I like I said, I just about lost it. I was like, finally, Jace, like see, people do love him and care about him, if only he could see it. Now, as I was trying to search for 2 more to make 7 for 7 on Sundays, I had a really hard time just coming up with parents in my head, because like I said, it's really hard to find good literary parents that I feel like are decent. There were a couple that popped into my head where the parents were a part of the story, but they were like horrible parents, and I would not put them on this list. So for number 6, I have Diana from a book called The Mother-in-Law. I just really love how misunderstood she was. She fiercely loved her kids, but they didn't really understand why she did things that she did. They tend to resent her parenting skills. But I cannot help but to agree with her on her tough love style of parenting. She appears very closed off and cold, but as Lucy, the daughter-in-law, starts to get to know her better, we see a whole other side of Diana. And it was just really touching. Whoops, just like kicked the freaking stand. And lastly, from 5 Feet Apart, I thought that Will Newman who is our male protagonist in that story, I thought that his mom deserved a spot on this list. Because I cannot imagine how difficult it is for a parent to have a child who has an illness like that will eventually take his life. Will and his mom really tend to butt heads on his treatment. His mom really kind of pushes him one way and he's always trying to push back the other way because he's just kind of in denial in a way, and he just wants to have the best years instead of just being stuck in a hospital room, which I can totally understand too, but from a mother's perspective, it's like, I'm sure she feels extremely helpless, and he really made things a real struggle for her. I just really feel for the position that she's in to have to see your kid sick like that, and to face the fact that he will probably die, and being helpless to get her kid to listen to her for the last few little things that she could try to control in an uncontrollable situation. For me personally, I can still control what my kids' choices are and what they do, and I can discipline them, and they're going to listen to me because they're still little kids. They're 9 and 11. Even though they kick up fits, they ultimately will end up listening to me, but that day will end and I will be powerless to control their choices. And that wraps up my 7 favorite literary moms for this prompt today. Thank you for watching. Bye!